All right, we're all done with push-ups, so don't worry about it. We're talking about running now. We have two women whose transformations have been amazing, in part because of the amount of running they're doing. First off, I want to introduce you to Michelle Zepeda, the lovely lady in gray with the lovely necklace.
Hi.
And you might recognize Jennifer Wagner. She's the lovely lady in red with the red necklace. Both women have had a huge transformation. First off, I want to show you Michelle. I asked her to send me a before picture, and it's not easy, but this is Michelle before. And that was after which baby?
That was baby number one.
Baby number one. And you have lost how much weight since that picture?
Over 100 pounds.
Over 100 pounds.
Well over 100 pounds, yeah. So.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's baby steps, you know? I mean, it really isn't that difficult if you take it, you know, like 20-pound increments or something like that at a time.
I take
you know?
it like a pound at a time. I do.
Well,
I get
that's
daunted.
where I'm at this point, because
Right.
I just have, you know, maybe like 10, 15 pounds I want to just, you know, finish losing, and it's just, this is the hardest. This is the hardest weight to lose right now, just that, you know, the last.
finish line.
Yeah, the finish line, exactly, so.
All right, and also we have Jennifer Wagner, who is an inspiration every time you show up anywhere on Facebook or here on the program. We've got a before picture of Jennifer, and you've also made a huge transformation. Jennifer, this is a little montage she gave me of before, and Jennifer after is 130 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, and so you are now actually going to be a Weight Watcher leader. You've gone from one end to the other of the spectrum.
Yes.
So what we're talking about here, why I got you both here, is you both did this in the last week or so, the Glass City Half Marathon. How did you start running?
You know, and after I had my first baby, I was nearing 300 pounds. I was a big girl, and I realized I had to do something about it. So I just started with walking. I started walking around my neighborhood. I'm like, you know what, this is something I can do. And then it eventually started going to walking and running, and then a little more running.
When you say just started going to running, though, I put on Facebook, why aren't you running? And I had 11, 12 responses saying, I hate it hurts my joints, I don't want to, whatever. But so you're at your high weight and you're walking. When you that first faster step, did you do a minute? Did you, I mean,
Yeah,
how
I mean,
did you
what
start?
I did instead of time, because time for me goes so slow when you're working out. So what I did is I'm going to just try to make it to that tree. I'm going to make it to the house at the end of the block. And I just kept making, you know, my goals further and further until I actually ran around the block once, you know, I mean, just small goals. So, I mean,
and that was it, just
that
a
was
little
it,
bit
just
at a
a
time.
little bit at a
Just
time.
Run to this spot,
Yep.
run to that spot.
Exactly.
Why didn't you stay walking? What made you think, I am moving it to running?
I mean, I gained a lot of weight, so I at one point worked out a lot. You know, I worked out in college, I worked out in high school, and you know, I knew that I wanted to be back to that place, and I knew I could do it. So
You knew you could do it.
yeah, exactly.
And same with you. You started walking. Was that the first thing?
Yes.
And you did it more in time increments, you were saying. The first time you ran, was it 1 minute of running or something you were looking at?
I just kind of added a little bit at a time and just kept increasing the distance slowly.
When people say, and here you were doing a half marathon, you've both done full marathons, is that right? Or you've
I haven't done a full
You've
yet.
done half.
I was training for a
Lazy.
full.
You're so lazy, Jennifer. It's shameful. So you've done a half marathon.
Yes.
Only 13 measly miles.
That's the thing that's great about running is, yes, there's a winner of the marathon and there's a winner of the half marathon, but there's no losers.
There's no
everyone
losers.
that finishes, everyone that just crosses that finish line, you won, you know?
And you were a wealth of information about some of the negatives of running when people put what stops them from running to the tree, you know, going from walking to running. The joint thing.
Yes.
Also, what's worse for your joints is the extra weight, not running.
Yes, I was reading that according to the CDC, 68% of the US population is overweight or obese. That is one of the highest risk factors for osteoarthritis, having the excess weight pressure on your joints. Every 10 pounds you lose, you take off 45 pounds of pressure on your joints, on your knees and stuff. So being obese was a higher risk factor for joint problems than running. And actually, there's a Stanford study that it was a longitudinal study over a 20-year period where they studied runners versus non-runners. And the runners were no more or less likely to have osteoarthritis and joint problems, and actually their cartilage was healthier.
Awesome. See, all the facts that you need right there. So for you, Jennifer, though, or for you, Michelle, are you going to keep doing marathon? I mean, you said you have 10 or 15 pounds. It's like marathon training is a whole nother level. And I mean, what do you think
it's
will
a big
work your life?
commitment. I mean, when you're training for any half marathon, it's really a 12-week commitment that you're committing that you're going to be running, 4 to 6 times a week. And every time I'm like, at the end of the training, I'm like, I am not going to do this again. This is my last race. I'm absolutely not going to do it again. And then you get in the race, and it's just such a blast, and you have so much fun, and there's so much support, from the community and from your family, and you realize that you really did something great, and then you want to do another one. So I'm already looking into what is my next race going to be. And I told my husband, I said, I'm not going to do this again, So
But already,
it's addicting.
It's addicting.
It really is.
So I would say there are some people that are natural runners that's just they do it the first time and go, oh, I love this, and some people that aren't. I am not a natural runner per se, but I will say it's easier for me to run than it is to do resistance training. And you were saying you love resistance training, and at first running was the more difficult thing.
Weightlifting is my thing that I'm good at. I enjoy. Running didn't start out as being enjoyable for me. I had to make up my mind that I wanted to do it and kind of push myself. And once I got past that hurdle, I got stronger and faster. I started breathing easier. It became easier. And I said, wow, I'm running. And that just made me excited that I could run. So I just kept at it, and it just got easier and easier. And then I found, oh, this is nice. It's enjoyable for me. And I really like running through like wildwood and side cut, just being in nature. So it's really beautiful and makes it more enjoyable. And just running with other people and having conversations. It's like that social bonding time with other runners. And
it's just you've sort of grown into someone that loves it.
Yeah.
For you, you've always loved running?
No,
or no?
I was never a runner. The
Like, 'cause
most
some
I ran,
people say, I'm not a runner. And it's like, you don't know that you're not a runner.
Yeah, no, the most I've ever ran was that mile that we had to do for the President's Fitness Challenge in high school.
Which
I mean,
I
that's
totally
really all I did. But
Nor could I do the pull-ups.
somewhat, I read once, all you need to do is be able to run 3 miles, which for a lot of people, 3 miles is a lot. But gradually, if you get up there, if you can run 3 miles, you can run a half marathon, you can run a marathon. That's really the base you need to step into training.
The first time I remember running my first mile, like going a mile. Like that is a big thing. You feel like I can run a mile, and
that was a major accomplishment. I remember the day that I ran my first mile. It was like I had climbed a mountain.
And I remember not being able to run it. I remember thinking, okay, I ran half a mile. Okay, I'm going to walk again. I mean, it's because it does take some increments to get there.
And that's okay, even with these half marathons. My first half marathon, I ran and walked it. I did not run the whole thing. It just wasn't until recently that I started running these things, straight through without a problem. So it's okay. I mean, sign up for these races, challenge yourself, and you don't have to run the whole thing.
Do you zone out when you run? Think about other things?
Yeah, you have to.
Like I said,
You
I'm
absolutely
on
have
Dancing
to.
with the Stars in my head when I'm running.
Yeah.
Maxine, call me. So do you think about the running, or do you think about something else?
Well, when I'm in the parks, I actually look around a lot, and so I'm just observing the trees. I'm listening to the breeze. I'm just more in tune with the
Because
elements.
if you're running like this, okay, a quarter more mile, that's not good.
No.
You need to get to that
No.
place that I just ran a quarter mile and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
And the race isn't the big thing, or the half marathon, or the marathon. It's the training, because you have to keep yourself occupied. There aren't people cheering you on or handing you water or energy bars or anything when you're training. So I'm always taking different routes. I love to look at houses and landscape and see how people painted their house or did their
that's how you
flowers.
keep
So
out of
I always
the-
try to make different routes, especially for my long runs, because when you're training, you have one long run a week that you have to get
Right,
to.
you get
so
your long weekend run in
yeah.
for the longer training. Okay, so if you've never run before, what would be the advice to the brand new, want to try running person?
My biggest thing is I think that people try to do too much too soon. You need to have, first you have to have good shoes that are properly fitted for your foot. Everyone has different arches, different widths.
Good shoes.
So you need to have good shoes. Start out slow. Start out at a pace where you can breathe comfortably. You can have a conversation. People think that they should be fast or something, and they
It's
push
not a
themselves
race
too hard,
to
and then they're like,
begin
oh, I can't breathe. This is hard.
Absolutely. And same thing for you? Good shoes?
Yeah, good shoes,
Start
and
slow?
just use an inspiration. Use a person as an inspiration for you. That's how I
Well,
started.
you guys are my inspiration for my run today. I swear I'm going to run today. All right, when we come back, we're going to push-ups, running, and now vegetables. It sounds like a punishment, but it's not. It's good for you and it's fun. Stay with us.